if they're going to continue to come to the game and make that chant, it's better that they do not come.
Herc, what are your thoughts on this?
What year are we in? Honestly. Thoughts, because this has been going on for so long. And for those fans who said this was a Mexican national team problem, well, here it is in Major League Soccer. Here it is in America's finest city, a city that has one of the largest LGBTQ plus communities in the nation. And you're using this as a joke. You're using this to weaponize it on the field. And for what? At what purpose? And who are you trying to convince that it's not homophobic? Because this is what we're going to hear. It's not even a homophobic chant. You don't know what it means in Mexican culture. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. You wouldn't say this at work. You wouldn't go chanting this at work. You're doing it because you're drunk. You're doing it because you've been drinking, tailgating since 9, 10 in the morning, and they allow you to drink all day in the sun. And then you get into the game, and regardless of the no alcohol after the 70th minute, by that time, you're sauced. You're absolutely wasted, and it comes out. And not once, not twice. How many times? And how many times did the officials turn a blind eye? How many times did they cover their ears and act like they didn't hear it? Well, this is no longer a CONCACAF issue. This is no longer it's a Mexican fan issue. This is no longer all the things we keep hearing. Now it's in your house, Major League Soccer. And I'm old enough to remember. I am old enough to remember the sanctions on the field. The sanctions for players and coaches. Players that I know that I've played against who used a homophobic term and got 3 games, no tolerance, suspension. Mike Petke, coaching Real Salt Lake, for giving a match day official a piece of paper with a homophobic slur. He's not coached since. He's not coached in Major League Soccer since. So it's zero tolerance there. What is it going to be here? Because we're in a league, Major League Soccer. You're in a city, San Diego, with all the advantages and resources in the world. If you really want to crack down and if you really want to prove that this isn't a Major League Soccer issue, not a U.S. issue, then prove it here. Because if not, it's all hearsay.
The definition of party poopers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it takes only a couple of stupid people to ruin it all. And it's a shame, but it's a problem, even when it's a minority. And I don't think it's that hard to fight it. It takes willingness, responsibility, and zero tolerance. What do? No points for the home team. No points. And again, if it repeats, no points. And sooner than later, then you will eradicate the... It's tough, of course, but I don't know if you find another solution. No points. No points for Mexico. No points for San Diego. No points for whoever a home crowd makes that funny slur.
Yeah. Ark?
Yeah, you know what, Chris? It would be one thing if this was a few bad apples. If this was a handful of people who are yelling this and the mic caught it. Speaking to multiple people who are at this game, this was a large portion of the crowd. It was easily identifiable. It's not shutting up a few people. It's not telling 1 or 2 people, hey, don't do that. This is a large portion of that fan base making it notable. This is an issue, and San Diego is one of the finest cities you can ever live in.
Yeah.
And I agree with Mikey Veras. It's not a representation of the values that those people, those fans, the good fans, want to be known for. Today, we're not talking about San Diego and 4 points in their first 2 games for an expansion fee. San Diego FC isn't here in England, around the world, being spoken about for how they could be a model franchise. The headline is Homophobic Chant rings out in the San Diego FC home opener. That's a problem. That's a problem for San Diego FC. That's a big problem for Major League Soccer. Major League Soccer has always said zero tolerance when it comes to these things. Well, we're about to find out if that's true.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity, though. I mean, if you start forfeiting matches, as UEFA doesn't do, they don't do it when you have racist stuff in games in Europe. It's the same story over and over during years. But if you have this opportunity, this challenge, and you start forfeiting games, and the team who fans or part of the stadium of the home team incurs in that slurs, if they lose the game, then it will send a really good precedent and a lesson to others, to UEFA, to Spanish League, everywhere. It's a good opportunity to lead with example. Not
Yeah.
easy, but if not they, who?
Yeah, and it's so frustrating that this isn't the first time, and it probably won't be the last time that I've had to talk about this topic as an anchor, as an analyst, as a human being. And if it's exhausting for me, I can't even imagine how exhausting it is for the LGBTQIA plus community who have to deal with hate every single day of their lives, and to want to go to a stadium, to enjoy a game, to have a party. I went to Charlotte FC's home debut, and it was a party, and it was an amazing atmosphere. First impressions are everything, and they started not even on their left foot, they started falling on their face. So if this is what we're going to be doing, a level of immaturity and just lack of education at the end of the day, to be okay to use such an offensive word, even if it only offends one person around you, I don't think it's that hard to just remove that word from your language. That's what I have to say about it.
But that won't happen.
It won't. And that's why I'm so frustrated about it, because we can't go to every person and make them understand and shake them until they understand.
Sadly, it won't happen. But what about, again, making the home team lose that game?
Yeah.
That will make change.
Yeah.
Or not?
You would hope. You would hope. I don't know. It's something that like I said, we've looked for so many solutions, and
That's the solution.
then do it. That's all I want to
But
see.
they don't.
Yeah, because actions speak louder than words. Here,
It's hypocrisy.
yeah, exactly, because they don't want to touch their pockets. But all right, we're gonna move on because it was a tough night too. Herc chuckled at the title of this graphic, by the way, Bad Luck Chuck, because that's really what it was, and that's what it continues to be here for Chucky Lozano. As we saw, I mean, it was a short-lived home debut. He suffered what appeared to be a non-contact lower body injury, seems to be his hamstring now. The problem, that's during the first half of this game. And Lozano recently appeared on Javier Aguirre's preliminary roster for the CONCACAF Nations League semifinals later this month. So this was someone that was probably not gonna, we don't know what was gonna happen, right, Herc, when it came to Chucky Lozano coming back to the Mexican national team. But how big of a blow is this for him?
Well, it's a massive blow for Chucky Lozano because there are pundits out there, and I'll count myself one of them, who thought he was done with the Mexican national team. So to see Javier Aguirre personally go down there, say he spoke to Chucky, talk about how excited Chucky Lozano is to have another chance with the Mexican national team, you get the sense that Javier Aguirre was precisely going to do that, give him another chance. I don't think he warranted that other chance. I feel Chucky Lozano is living off of that goal he scored in the World Cup in 2018 in Russia against Germany. I was there in that stadium. That was the start of El Chucky Lozano. That was the last time we saw Chucky Lozano really shine with the Mexican national team. And that was, wow, it was 7 years ago. Think about that. 7 years ago since the last time we really saw Chucky Lozano put a stamp on a game for the Mexican national team. I would have moved on. I would have assumed that Javier Aguirre would have gone with Julian Quiñones, who is absolutely tearing Saudi Arabia up. In a league with some massive names, he's in the goal-scoring charts. He's top there. Cesar Huerta, who left in good favor with Pumas, who's doing very, very well, albeit in the Belgium league level. But in Europe, there are other players who have maybe earned that position, earned that opportunity. Other players in Mexico, in Liga MX, who currently are performing. I wouldn't have pegged Chucky Lozano to come back and have his place be assured. So this is massive for Chucky Lozano. I don't know how much the Mexican national team is going to miss out here, if I'm being honest, for what I've already stated. I think we saw the best of Chucky Lozano, and it was a while ago.
And he's only 29.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about.
It's crazy, yeah, because if we think back in 2018, when he was 22, and we were thinking about, okay, where can we foresee Chucky Lozano in 2025? Well, probably not in San Diego, right? I mean, it was like a sign. It's sad, but it's not its place. He has nothing to do there. But at the same time, you see Napoli playing at the very top level in Serie A, toe-to-toe against Inter for the first place. And then you see PSV Eindhoven playing the round of 16 in the Champions League. And why he wasn't able to remain there. He's only 29, he was good. What's he doing in the MLS? Of course, he's still young. Of course, he will try to do what Carlos Vela did. I doubt it, because for every Carlos Vela in MLS, you have how many, Herc? 20 examples otherwise? The opposite?
At least. And I would say playing in Major League Soccer for some of these players for the Mexican national team, not my opinion, just what we've seen, the Dos Santos brothers, players like that, Hector Herrera, it ends up being the end of their Mexican national team career. That's really what it is. You go to Major League Soccer and they'll
Even
forget
Chicharito.
about you. And whatever the case may be, if they think you dropped a level in play, if they think you lost a step, Carlos Vela is the only exception to the rule, because at Carlos Vela's height, they wanted him back. And it's Carlos Vela saying, no, I'm done with you. It's time for the next generation. But Carlos Vela is the only one I could recall of the Mexican national team players that have come over to Major League Soccer and really made a stamp, really proven they can stick around with the Mexican national team. Other than that, I'm really at a loss. And we can go back before that. Luis Hernandez, whoever the case may be, Jorge Campos, these players, they get lost in this Major League Soccer abyss because in Mexico, they don't respect Major League Soccer. They don't see it at the same level. And maybe they also, to their own credit, drop a level personally. So it's something I've not seen, and I don't think Chucky Lozano is going to be the exception.
It's a tough start for him because we can't judge what he's done before, at least. In MLS, they can only judge from what we've seen from him in the last few years. And as both of you just said, when it comes to the Mexican national team, and maybe the last true great season he had was with Napoli, because PSV, we know it was a little bit more comfortable from him, a little bit closer to home, where he really made him a name for himself when it came to his European career.
And
like
even
you said, he's only
Napoli,
29.
And even Napoli wasn't enough. I mean,
Right.
yes, he won Scudetto, he was great.
A lot of
for
coaching
couple
changes.
Yeah, but he struggled a lot. I mean,
Right.
he never was a starting 11.
He had one good season.
With no
He's
doubt.
had double-digit goals, 11
It
goals.
was like
Yeah.
half 11, half 12 with Politano, a couple of good seasons, but not enough to get his contract renewed.
True.
He went to PSV, and in PSV, when we thought he would be the king again, he wasn't.
Very true. Very true.
But yeah,
You're
I'll just say this: not enough to really cement the highest transfer ever paid at that time
Of course.
by Napoli for Chucky Lozano. Certainly, they won a Scudetto, but they had bigger hopes for him.
Yeah, absolutely.